Oh, no. I'll try to speak up. My hair is reminding me of Tyler's Tarot. I wonder if he's missing some hair. What is it, 21st. And it's 3:59, 4 a.m. 4 a.m. in the morning. So I was watching Steve Fletcher, and I'm so moved by him and his ability to go to another country to help in a ministry and raise a family, fall in love, raise a family, that sort of thing, and bear forth um, through the gematria, through the notions and the potions of what their expectations are through the Christ. Yeah. And my knowledge and my base has brought me beyond such notions, but then I dive right in. And I dive right in with wisdom so that to offer up truth, and sometimes it can disrupt the desire of the heart. Yeah, considering what we have, and what we should appreciate. I do kind of feel guilty. Well, guilt is guilt. It's silver, as is wisdom. So I feel a whole lot guilty, right? I should. Jeff did such a wonderful job going through the house. He covered all of the ceilings, ceiling fans. From the we have here in New Mexico uh, quite a quite a movement of daddy longleg spiders. Now these are poisonous spiders, but not to humans because our epidermal layer is very thick, and so they can't bite us. And so they can only bite the little soft insects that come through the house, which New Mexico has a lot of those too. And they can erupt from your plants. You open the door one day or sprinkles in the yard, and all of a sudden you've got flying insects. In the dusk of the evening, as you look towards the down streets, you can in city lights you see nothing but pure bugs. I mean, how many are you really breathing if you're running? So they've been doing their job here in this house. And I don't often open that window, but when I do, it's nothing but spider webs. Whoosh, and daddy longlegs running to hide their little babies. And when they do have a bloom in the house, you get these little tendrils of web. And sometimes your eyes don't even catch it. It takes weeks, and you notice, oh my God, I got all this webbing going on. And it's like witchcraft. It's like being weaved up upon. But what it's doing is it's catching your dreams, and it's preventing evil thoughts and evil things because the spiders taking care of that don't really appreciate the insect world as an unclean world. Excuse me, I'm a little congested. That's why I'm up. I had to take some medication. My body woke me up, so and I have these new gel caps, and they are fast acting. And then I took a 100 milligrams THC honey cap, and it's hitting me now. So I originally woke up at 2 o'clock. Yeah, 2 a.m. So what was I getting? Oh, my spiders. So Jeff got rid of all my spiders, and he got to see his own spiders. Um, the spider webs in his room were like veils. I mean, they were just like veils. It's beautiful. I think he might have left one because it's a big mama. And she's doing her job. She's catching all the bugs. You can see that she's loaded. And there's a lot of flying insects. And they come and they come. So it's just the realm that we live in. I'm really surprised to see Roswell got hit with their 100 year. Now that can happen here. For all the cleaning Jeff did and all the scrubbing, and it's so beautiful. Floors look nice. It smells nice. If the house is clean. He tackled the living room. He got all the dust out. That's the most important thing for me, to be able to breathe. And he did such a good job, and I was disheartened before that. The spirit was moving me that this is just the desolation that should never have occurred. Because as I reach for something, I lose my breath and I can't take it. And it knocks me out to do the simplest task. And keep trying to say that, but it's not. I have to remind you because it looks like I'm a healthy person, and I'm just a calm person right now. I can breathe. See, I'm breathing, and in 5 seconds I could be. If I was to take the garbage out, oh God, simplest task. If I was to, ever have to mow the lawn again, and yet it was only 21 days ago that I did mow the lawn. It was, and I had that energy to do that and to do tasks like make a dish and do all the dinner dishes and make sure that the day flowed without expressing myself like vacuuming and stuff. But lawn, that really choked me up. And I did both in the front and the back, remember? So maybe that knocked me down, but I don't think so. Because when it comes down to it, what I'm experiencing is the drug effect itself. And like the hemorrhaging in my sinuses now. So I bruise easily, and so internally I can bruise, and those bruises can come to the surface. So I recognize them, and I've got the bloody nose under control so far today. No clots. So it's clear. And so I feel very comfortable. Anyways, Steve Fletcher, he offers such a spiritual understanding in the doctrine and in his belief, and it's so strong. And it does correlate. There's no coincidences. Just like his discovery of the uh, Fletcher's comet. It was mentioned in simply a Hollywood situation where to place a time to pull out the number, to place a distance to pull out a number so as to concordance it and then to reveal it. I thought about in this video he placed today about my own birthday because he's talking about the circumcision of the flesh. And the flesh is so important. It really is important that the Almighty would cut these days short, but to save the flesh of the elect. So, but in the circumstances of circumcision, you think about taking the covering off of something that's so sensitive, circumcision, and then it changes the person entirely. And the purpose in one was to make war because you've lost everything you've ever coveted in your life or coveted you. Yeah, upon the meatus, which is a humiliating thing in servitude as a soldier. Could you stand up to that? Hardly, hardly. That's why they do it when you're so young and you're a baby. And so it's built into the eighth day, which has its own connotations. That which is the sixth and of the seventh and becomes the eighth is the false prophet. Now it says the beast, but it is a beast. It's a false prophet beast because it's a second head. It's the one that made it profitable because no man may buy or sell. So it has to do with the profitables. But it also has to do with going into perdition at the end, which I speak of, which is peace. And they don't know that. So the Prince of Peace who comes as the heir, because it's Aquarius, and he's the eunuch, who's in air, means he's in the inheritor, but yet he's in air. Yeah, he's in air because it's based on the belief systems of those who would accept such a thing. So yeah, as this expression, perdition being peace. Now peace is a place of nothingness, no thing. And in the Strong's Concordance, 1115, which is my birthday, is Bilti. Bilti is the word, which means save, but not as you know it. Save as in no man may buy or sell, save he who has the mark, the image, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. So the number of my name is my birthright, my birth record, 11/15/1963. When I go to oncology, that's the first thing they ask me. They see me there all the time. But it's protocol, patient's name, patient's birthday. Then you've got the right patient. That's how it works. No matter how many Jesus Gomez's are out there, or Gonzalez's, or any of the rest, it's your birth date. And then there are circumstances where the same name is born, but on the same day, especially given such names. Those are so common. Common. They roll over. Anyways, it's Bilti and it means save. And it means accept. Nothing. And it's nothing less. And it's peaceful. And you're just in nothingness. It's peaceful. It's called rest in peace. And it's for the dead. And I remind everybody that if you're seeking salvation, it means you're in danger. And redemption is for the dead, not the living. Because we're already here. That's the glorious thing. We're here. We're the ones that are supposed to receive revelation. And it's amazing because it's the revealing, as it is the apocalypse, which is that great opening of knowledge and truth. So all things are known within and without, both sides. Yeah. So my 11/15 is my birthday, and my on my 8th day, because 7 days later JFK was assassinated, was awake for the nation. So on my circumcision day, it was awake for an entire nation. And since that time, there have been those kings, whether they be the 10 kings that were given the power, written about, or the 7 heads of the beast, which is ridden upon by the harlot. Yeah, the harlot. Those kings without a kingdom are presidents, because for JFK it was proverbial Camelot. It was. And it was spoken of that way. And now it's been 60 years. And I'm going to be 61. And I go into the 7th. I'm of the 6 right now, in my vibration, in my numerology, which is what I teach. And then I'm of the 7th. And which becomes the 8th, this goes into perdition. It would be a false prophet. And I believe it's Islam, the entirety of Islam is the faith of peace, and peace is perdition. And they must rest in peace. Yeah, because they were a construct through the Jezebel, the church, Rome. So they're a daughter creation of it, as they proclaim themselves the people of peace. And they're not. They never have been. You would know. You would know. It's that simple. We were made to be self-evident. We've forgotten that. We won't forget that now. This changes. And Trump is the anointed cherubim. And he was cast down by Michael Pence, who acted as that archangel upon the floor of the Senate and took the coins, as Judas did. So he's the little horn. And I've taught about that. I've talked about that. But yet he's still not recognized as the little horn by anybody that's in Christendom. None of them will recognize Trump as the rider on the white horse. None of them can grasp these things because it goes against the doctrines of the things that they desire. And so it's a great falling away for me to come around. That Thessalonians. Yeah. But it says, let no man deceive you. And the image of Jesus as a God is a man deceiving you through Paul. If you could see the words between the two men, yeah, you could place them together, you would see that Paul usurped the whole thing and made it profitable to sell God. That's what chapter 13 is all about. It's the way the Pharisees saw him. The Pharisees saw Yeshua with the skin as a leopard because he disappeared in crowds constantly. They say to themselves, what is he, a leopard? And feet as a bear. He's always barefoot, walking barefoot in our temples. Unclean feet. Wash those feet. Like a bear, flat-footed. And boldly, because that's how a bear walks. A bear walks boldly. And the average man doesn't walk like a bear. And so that it gives us an illustration of how they have perceived him. And then that mouth as a lion speaking great blasphemy. I mean, they couldn't take it. They didn't even want to consider him a rabbi, a teacher. And yet the people were moved by everything that he did. But the Pharisees, no. So they brought upon a mighty head wound. Well, that's the movement itself, isn't it? Well, sure as hell, we know what happened. Pilate is a real person. This is a real event. These are real political times, just as they were. Yeah. Money, buying and selling in the temple. The Lord turned over those money changers. He did. He threw them out. He taught each and every one of us that the temple is the body. But Paul, after that mighty head wound upon his movement, Paul becomes the head of the second beast. And he is a 13. He's a number 13. He's counted as 13. But he's an apostle and he's not a disciple. He'd never met the Lord, but he claims he received Jesus Christ on that road to Damascus, where Judas once lived. And the whole works with the blind eyes and the whole thing. So as to present himself upon the Jew through the Pharisee, which was working with Rome, as a tax collector, as a publican, as a thief, a liar, and a murderer from the beginning, if we knew of what took place with Stephen. And then to have this judge of heart change and usurp so that he made it profitable that you would buy and sell if you proclaim the 3 days and the rising of beyond the cross. But he says, take up your cross in a manner that you carry it and you constantly keep him there in your spirit on a cross. So there's no escape. It's like a binding tool. I mean, ever looked into Simon the Magus, you'd know there is magic, but yet it's an illusion, and yet they're binding tools. And in truth, on the cross that day, when that earthquake was preparing itself and sounding off, and the rain was coming down, they were instructed to break the legs of those crucified, those three, so they couldn't be taken down and healed, because they were just beaten up there. And what happened was our Lord was filled with fluid in his lung, fluid and blood. It's called a pleural effusion. He was drowning in his own fluids, hanging on the cross. Having given sup, he gave up the ghost and passed out. From this small table, from that little table below the crosses, La Masia, the battle between the right and the left. that which would accept and that which did not. The thieves on the cross with him, they had their legs broken that night. There was no coming back. But instead, this Longinus soldier saw him as dead. Don't waste your time, but I'll do you a favor. Whoosh! And he stuck that spear in his lung, and he performed a modern day miracle. And that blood and that water spewed forth, and it changed that man. It changed that man. And when they took him down from that cross, they took down a dead man, but he was breathing. Yeah. John of Arimathea, Arimathea, how do you say it? Well, John, another John, a title. No, Joseph of Arimathea, Arimathea. Yeah, I have to get those names right. Joseph came along, a rich man. How he's related, I don't know. He seems to just pop into the story. A humanitarian steps up, someone who has money, who has a tomb prepared, takes him and pleads for his body and suffer not to bury the body. They suffered not to bury the body. No one suffered to bury the body. And within that tomb, those garments were placed and that seal was placed. Can you see the miracle, modern day miracle, the plural effusion? And it didn't take long before he could rise up and show Didymus Thomas, the doubter, that indeed it was him, that there is a hole in his side and in his hands. The strength of the human man, but a mighty man, and in truth a Nephilim child. Yeah. Yeshua told us he was of the seed of David through his mother, and his mother was impregnated by Gabriel with the seed of the mornings, the bright and morning star. It's both. I don't know how that worked because it is both in its form as a parallel, as two L's, as L is L, as we live in a binary star system, and one of those stars has faded from our view or our eyes. Yeah, and it's bearing forth. It's called the interstellar fluff. What a name. The fluff is the stuff. It's Lucifer. It's Helios. It's not Hydra. The truest Hydra is our sun, that of water, star water. It's what gives forth this light. But through the measurements of the planets, of how the body was formed, the soul body above, which collectively is you, if you connect to the soul body above, allowing you to walk upon the light of day. Yeah, to see all things, to know the truth. And he's recognized as the prodigal son, for which he shall be restored. And that's what the process is. So it's the destroyer, Abaddon. I don't like to use the Greek. I don't like the Apollonius. I don't like the Apollyon wording. I mean, you can use it around me, but it's not going to irritate me. It's just that Abaddon speaks so clearly as to the truth. In the living word, Aposton, the Don being the prince. Yeah, the prince of God, the prince of the Father. The Father thinks he's dead. Yeah, that's not true. I asked the question so long ago. Can Lucifer be forgiven? And the answer was only if man can be. And that's where the true soul started pouring forth. That's when the experiences with Gabriel and everything came forward. Four winds and the Shalem colony and the expression of child exploitations, trafficking, abortion, war, poisons, nightmares. all the realities that are offered up. And yet that cherubim who promised all the kingdoms of the world to our Lord, if he worship him, our Lord told him, "Get thee behind me, Satan." And he did. That's why 11:15 means in Revelation, the Lord and of his Christ. And it speaks in such a manner, upon a witness, for which there are two. Yeah. It's hard to be happy about it. But I'm pleased that it means there's a future. Truly, there's a future. The rapture is a false doctrine, and yet we are not alone. We are not alone. No, ever, we're never alone. And the harvest is a real thing, as the Anunnaki were a real thing. The Anunnaki, 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 and the Anasazi. Yeah, it's the combined word, Anunnaki. It sounds like a Japanese wine served at Anna's place. Yeah, he said he would not drink wine until he returned. So the harvest comes. The harvest comes, and is an important factor in the living word, as it is the living world in reality. Even upon the predator, even upon the predator, when we think we're the predator and we're not, we're the prey. If you knew about it, we should pray that they do not eat their own children, as we are their own children. And truly, they've forgotten too, and they come. It'll be an interesting thing. And they cannot harm. No, they cannot harm unless they harm themselves. It's a great discovery for them, because what comes down can't go back up. This is it. I don't think they realize that. Maybe they do a contingency. I don't know. They think they can send us all home. Well, the rapture people believe they're going home. But no, the body has to remain. And little do they know. Because they got broken too. They got broken too. When we got flooded, they got flooded. They lost all their infrastructure. The infrastructure was all over the planet, revealing the nature of the harvesting. Truly. And it's written in the rocks. It's in the rocks. Written in the rocks. It's not that hard to understand. Where did the people go? To the cliffs, and they covered it. They covered and hid all their food in the cliffs of the rocks and in Turkey underground and everywhere they could find space so that they could live. Yeah, and the blood of which went up to the nostrils of the Creator, and he was just disgusted he had ever created them. Man, he hated that he had ever created man. As the angels then started mixing their seed, creating the Nephilim, the mighty men, the giants, and there are others too. The Anakim. I think there's one that's called a seraphim, but it's not the seraphim as the I know as the jinn. There's two in heaven, just two. There's the cherubim who appear as man, and there's the seraphim who can appear as fire, but they appear as man too. It's just a different color. For me, they were blue. The jinn were blue, and the child's blue. So a child's born between them. The child is dead. The child is stillborn. So he was lifted unto Almighty Yah the moment he was born. Yeah, there's hope. There's hope that there's a future. Mankind is the fatling calf, that which was coveted, that which was left behind. Is the it's the creation of the Creator, so it's his wife, and his brother coveted it, and is all held in a will. Yeah, the scroll is a will. It's the will of God, the Creator, for the child. Yeah, so that's why the devil couldn't consume the child, because the devil can only consume the living. Yeah, so he was protected. He just needed a vessel and and a woman in heaven, someone he loves, who would provide such a space as to believe in him and to believe in all his experiences, only to be snatched away to the wilderness, carried on two wings of, well, carried on the wings of the eagles. That's the angels. They are angels, eagles, egos, and it's the angels, truly. So your own ego can present itself as an angel. Your own ego can present itself in such a fashion that it can lift you to the wilderness. But the ego can also extend itself upon the nations, the eagle. Yeah, and the trustworthiness of it. So for the woman to be carried into the wilderness on two wings of an eagle, that I've always spoken that we can only trust two portions of our armed forces. Yeah, the Army and the Air Force, not the Navy, not the Marines, and I guess not the Space Cadets either. I don't know, it's there for Trump had made a new portion of them, but that was only funding for NASA. You know, nasty NASA who wants to fake it all and spend a lot of money and lose a lot of lives at the expense of their toys and technological drive. They've become clever. I don't know why they just don't go to CGI. Who needs to even give them paychecks anymore, right? I'm sorry. They have to shut that stuff down. They do. Anyway, so the 21st, right? Yeah, 21st with the spirit on it. End time spirit upon the 21st. So blackjack. Today's blackjack. The 21st. So it has such a great connotation. The 21 can be derived by three sevens, 777. And with a spirit upon it, the end time spirit is placed upon the 21. So it enhances it. So cha-ching, cha-ching, pull the one-armed bandit and might find out. You might find out. Yeah. Yeah. So also the 21 can reveal, for me personally, the number 316 because um, of Robbie Anson being born on 316, that he is trisomy 21. That's Down syndrome. And so it's a 7-7 expression, 777 expression for him as a person of perfection, 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 that I would recognize that Down syndrome is the face of God itself. Have you noticed they all have the same face? It's the same face as God. So Enoch being he who walked with God, who had the face of God, who's shown with the face of God, was the very first Down syndrome person. And I can be a testament, having been his friend for so very long, but yet being disconnected from talking to him for so very long now, because it's been almost 2, 3 years, maybe 4, that I've disconnected from you. Yeah, since the 2019 days. And he's been very diligent not to contact me anymore. He's built into Freemasonry and he's apportioned to some almighty wind ministry, which is of the Nicolaitan, that which exploits. But because of his birthday, it brought forth the truth as to the nature of Enoch and all Down syndrome children and why they're Down syndromed, and because of the abomination and the overspreading upon the womb of the mother, that if we realize that most abortions are because of Down syndrome, uh, normally it's normalized. Oh, down baby, okay baby, goodbye, aborted baby. And yet, through advocacy and self-discovery, we see that they're very self-sustaining and very beautiful people. They can live difficult lives, but challenging and yet rewarding, and then such teachers they are. But to exploit someone like that, that's a Nicolaitan, and he hates you. That's what I believe. That the trafficking and the exploitation of a child is what makes the church of the Nicolaitan. It's like Nico, 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 Nicholas, Nicholas, Nicholas. It's just like Nicoma, Nicoma, Nicoma. It's gifts that will never be received. Like presents under the Christmas tree. Nicholas. Because of the illusion of the mantle of Elijah. That's what causes it. Yeah. That's why the she-bears were able to kill those children. Because of the pride and the arrogance of a bald man who couldn't take it, couldn't take the taunting that he would harm through the illusion of no fear, no harm at all. Those children didn't run from those bears. They didn't cry out and scream and in their ravaging of their death by a bear. That's just a terrible thing. No, they saw a big teddy bear. The mantle made them see the illusion. They were the mama bear's cubs in their mind, and they were all thrashed because of a man's pride that he wanted a double portion. Alicia. That's a despicable story. Why is all the stories despicable to me? Jacob's despicable. Alicia. Elijah was righteous. He couldn't take it anymore. He knew that Jezebel was going to come down on him. Is enough. So all the disbelief of Israel went into the mantle of Elijah. And Elisha took it and used it. And it's the same usurping that keeps happening over and over again as men covet, taught to them by the Mithraism that they carry. It's a crown. The sun's doing it to you. By the end of the day, you're going to feel that way. So is it normalized? No, no. We have covenants. But first, we have to recognize who your king is. Who's your king? And other people have to recognize which church they are. You know, interesting. So the blackjack, take it back, Jack, right? It's the dealer and the house take all. That's a that's a might statement. The playa, yeah, playa, play, yeah, loses, but yet has the greatest advantage of making money from the house, taking money from the house, going from blackjack to joker to poker, or poker to blackjack, or the machines, are going to pay out greater, which is the whole allure. It's the feeding unto the people, but there can be some great jackpots. But it's the other games that you're going to get swindled in any fashion whatsoever, because that's the name of the game. So the blackjack, of course, it being black, it being a jack, being a messenger, like a like the not the page, it wouldn't be a page, it would be a knight, um, probably riding on a jackass. But the notion of the black being in the past, always in the past, where the the black is the blue, as it is the gold is the red. So silver is black as wisdom in the left hand. It has to do with the mother and the capacity of it. Yeah. So how interesting. Yeah, I'm rambling about the blackjack. I don't gamble. I've never been someone that had that allure. I never went into a casino. I've never pulled the one-armed bandit. I've never done any of that. The lights and the dinkies and all this, the trinkies and the drinks and the music and the whole ambiance is just. I would have run from it from the moment I ever stepped foot in it. It would have bothered me. It always did, I guess. And my mom, she took to it. She loved it. She would save money to go to Las Vegas with her girlfriends. Yeah, she got pulled over by a cop one time for speeding, and she was just a fluttered. And he was so cute with her. He knew they were just tourist girls coming in to spend all their money. It's okay. We're not gonna hurt you. Don't speed. Don't speed. I know you want to get there. And so she had a funny story about that. Yeah. So today is 21. It's a pleasing day, isn't it? It seems pleasing. It didn't start out so well for me because it was congestion, but I was slept. I slept. That's important. And I ate very, very well. I did. I'm really totally pleased with having an egg sandwich for dinner tonight. It was so good. And I think I need to put some food in me though this evening. And it's this evening means this morning. Yeah, that sounds like it says deceiving. Deceiving is deceiving. Yeah, it is in a way, isn't it? When it's actually morning, it's the day. It's the new day. It's a new dawn. It should step out. 21. It's three. It's creativity. It's enhanced by the nine, but the 21 just holds itself, doesn't it? Doesn't want to be a three. I'm not a three. No, I'm a 21. It's like you have finally reached your legal age. Well, to drink, to gamble, to lose your life at war, although they take them as young as 17, um, to vote. Yeah, to make those adult purchases, which would be like tobacco and things like that. Yeah, you could be 21 or older. Not that I'm ever recommending such a thing, I promise. Yeah, there are enough addicts in this world. So the 21 doesn't the 21 doesn't equate the to the expression of an addict. No, it has nothing to do with that. Gambling is an addiction, I guess, but in this 21 environment, it's the dealer in the house that take all. So in this certain circumstance, there is a master of the house, and that's the celebration, isn't it? That the master should come upon the servants of the house, and that's not the players. No, it's the dealers. And so we have to right the wrongs, don't we? So the player has an opportunity, and there is a future, and it won't be the DNC because the DNC is now pushing democracy again. That we're at risk of losing our democracy through Trump when we are a republic, we return to the public. We take it out of their hands. Trump was in McDonald's, and I imagine Kamala could do that job, but her hand is in the till. Where are the tips? Where are the tips? Give him a tips. And they're pushing the democracy loss when in fact democracy is the harlot. That's the very harlot that's spoken about in chapter 17 of Revelation. You could pick up chapter 17 of Revelation. Now, there's different versions, but you can find the one that speaks to you uh, in whatever English capacity you have, or any other language, is the way it's presented. She's the one that rides upon the beast. It's the beast that has the 10 heads versus so it's the European portion of it that has the 10 heads. Whereas here locally we have here in Jerusalem, Jerusalem, is where the spiritual land given unto Bashan, the land of Bashan, in spiritual form, for which Dan leaps forth as a lion's whelp to judge all. And that's the expression, okay? But the harlot is democracy. And she's the one that's drunk off the blood of the saints. Those are the young men who go to war for her safety, for her proverbial 5 versions. Versions or virgins? They're versions of the virgin. That's liberty, freedom, justice, pursuit of happiness, and posterity. And those lamps must be held full with trimmed wicks. Of course, that's for the thief. That's the 10. The 10, can you see the thief? This, and yet 5 of them are unwise and are told to go out and purchase their oil, which is joy, which is what we do. Yeah. Well, I'm under the premise that marriage is between a man and a woman, and men cannot be brides. I just don't get it. I'm sorry, I can't wrap my head around it. I can't. So, anyways, glorious to the 21 in its capacity of being 3. 3 is creativity and beauty. It's the artist number. It's the recycle number. It's the ability to invest. So it's an investment. You see something that others don't see within something that's old and broken or discarded. And it's not about the new. It's not never about the new. It's about taking that which is hidden within and bringing it forth, becoming artistry, beauty, creativity, investment. So it's a beautiful day. And yeah, I look upon Roswell, who was flooded last night, and everybody's homes were 4 foot deep. Well, most homes. There are high places. Some people are saved, lucky. But if you notice all the infrastructure that's damaged, it was all done by cars. And a lot of those cars were never sold. They're not sold. These car dealerships here in the desert Southwest, they seem to just be the business of the day, transferring money in cars. And they're gorgeous cars, and they're all over the place, and they've ripped everything up. And everywhere there's damage, it's from a car. And it's probably 1 car per person, but if you really counted them, there's probably more cars than there are people. And yet, look at all the beautiful trees and beautiful structures, and but the trees look so gorgeous. After having gone through La Nina with no rain all year, Roswell looks beautiful. So they've probably been really pumping up the wellheads and everything and using municipal waters like tremendous to keep those trees so beautiful. And yet 100-year flood hit them in max capacity. And it could happen right here. All this cleaning that Jeff did in this house could be destroyed in one moment, in one day, based on a storm that hits the Rio Grande Valley and floods. We had 100-year floods, but we have dikes set up because the mountains take the water and flush it down. And all those arroyos, they've been actually developing them. Sometimes not so clearly, correctly, and the rains come and corrects everything. So I'm not cynical about Roswell. because what was lost is all monetary gains. And the destruction was because of the hand of those monetary gains, that there's no loss there when the trees are so beautiful and the trees are abundant and they're being fed something that's so beautiful. It's going to be a beautiful year this coming year because of that 100-year flood. And yet everybody's houses are destroyed, are not really. They're water damaged, and they can all be repaired through community efforts. And they're all touting that FEMA's got our hand, FEMA's got our hand, FEMA's going to do right by us. And yet at the same time, the hurricane relief is not being handled, not correctly. Never will be, not from the start. The authoritarian processes were the worst, and they should be addressed immediately. But not only that, in memorial, everybody should be pouring forth to see that they could all be rebuilt properly, and that, yeah, generations can be lost in an instant by the hand of God. And so it's not devastating. It's a deliverer. It's the deliverer. And so we should wonder if the angel that cries out to the four winds to hold back the four winds until the number of those servants are sealed on their foreheads, 144,000. And you would hope that that has occurred. Yeah, I don't know why it does that. It's a little block on my face. Stop the block. You never know what it means. If I touch the block, okay, I touch the block. It's a little square on the screen, and I can move it wherever I want it, but I don't know what it wants me to do. Maybe it's enlargement or something. I don't know. Strange. So I should put something in my stomach because it's flipping a little bit. Probably the THC, but then it could be the Tylenol, and then it could be I had to take Mucinex. That's over the counter stuff, but Jeff switched me over to a gel cap because they were running out. I guess everybody's sick out there. I have not left the house, so it's on Wednesday. It'll be 21 days since I took my infusion last. I can remember that part, that it has to be 21 days apart, so I can remember that. As far as the meeting with the doctor that week following, I missed last week, but I didn't because he didn't schedule me. And then the week before that, I saw him and I was neutropenia, low blood count, low white blood count, which meant danger zone, that infection could come at any second. Secondary infections are what usually knocks people out. And so I haven't left the house and I haven't spoken to anybody in physical form except for Jeff, which is a comfortable feeling that the people you're used to being around is a good thing. You get their germs all the time. They can be the barrier. So, but no outside stepping, not even into the backyard. I've not stepped outside. Not to pick up a cat tray. You know how I used to have to feed the cats? No, I had stopped. No, past 21 days, which will be Wednesday, my 21. Isn't that funny? Today's the 21st, and my 21st day is actually on Wednesday, which is the 23rd of the infusion. So it's strange. So, yeah, I don't deal with that. So I've been very lucky, and there hasn't been anybody coming to the house except for Amazon delivery. And then Jeff opens the packages. I don't do the whole Homer Simpson thing where I open the package and let out the the virus. Patient zero. Patient zero. That's where it starts. Zero is the hero, as De Niro was to Rome. And that monetary situation of those poor people in Roswell, it's going to be a tough draw and loss of life, which is monetary too. But look at it, and then rebuild. You just arrived into the beginning. That's what's called the end. It's the beginning. and it strengthens us morally. Okay, I could tell I'm losing my breath. I'm get excited inside, and I can feel my heart rate start rising, and I have to relax, take a deeper breath, and stop. That's what happens. So it's like an attack. It's happening right now. You don't realize it. Yeah, yeah, it's gonna attack me, and I have to catch my breath again. So have a great day, and treat it as the 777 or the blackjack, and hey, you might win the lottery. Okay.